श्रीनाथादिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पीठत्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं मुडुकत्रयं पदयुगं दूतीक्रमं मण्डलम् वीर्याद्यष्टचतुष्कषष्टिनवकं वीरावलिं पञ्चकम् श्रीमन्मालिनी मन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलम्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता पिता त्वमेव बन्धु सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा। सद्गुरु चरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः।
Hari Om. Sai Gita Ashram cordially welcomes you all to the spiritually renewing and recharging series on the wisdom of 𝘕𝒦𝘓 Gita. Our gratitude and humble salutations at the lotus feet of our Guruji, Sadguru Sai Kumar Babaji, for giving us this opportunity. Before we embark onto the spiritual journey, let us go through few details about the schedule. There will be total series of 21 classes. Classes will be held weekly thrice, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. IST. First two classes that are today 14th July and on Saturday 16th July will be held on Zoom. Following classes from 19th July Tuesday will be featured as YouTube live sessions. Before we end the 21 sessions, we will once again interact for any queries related to Bhagavad Gita topics back on Zoom, and related links for the classes will be shared regularly in Bhagavad Gita WhatsApp group. If you're not yet part of the Bhagavad Gita WhatsApp groups, kindly reach out to the number shared on the screen, 909-5383-940. And now, without delaying even for a minute, I request our beloved Sri Kirti Maji to speak few words before we get immersed into the spiritual discourse on Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. Hari Om.
I'm supposed to give an introduction about Gita Ma, but I'm sure almost all of you do know her, even on a personal level. I've known her from my childhood, and I think she knows me from the time she's 13 years old. So our relationship goes back way beyond a few decades. She entered, or rather she met Sadhguruji in the year 1971. And like everyone else, she fell in love with Guruji. So that's when she decided that she is not going to take the path which generally everyone takes, would rather like to know about herself more, and placed her hands under his able guidance. In 1992, he anointed her, or rather gave her the title of a brahmacharya, or rather she accepted the title as a brahmacharya, and she was renamed as Gita Ma. Gita Ma was a very, or still is, I think, a very voracious reader. She has this library. I mean, we may have place in our homes to put our clothes. She'll have place in her room to put her books. So she has these hundreds and hundreds of books, and always grabs whenever she gets a book to read. And I always found that whenever she spoke or expounded on any of the Shastras or the Bhagavad Gita or anything, she more or less, got underneath the skin of what the text exactly is trying to convey, and she could express it in very simple language so that people can understand. I think in her youth, she spent many hours giving lectures and, explaining about all that she had learned through. I still remember, in fact, she was very instrumental. At the age of 9, when I was supposed to give my first lecture, I was 9 years old and I was asked to give my first lecture. And she was the teacher who taught me how to go about it. And she was a very strict teacher. I had to learn till I understood everything and said it right. And the topic was, what is bhakti? So after that, there's no stopping. I enjoy, speaking. And that's thanks to Gita Ma. The reason why we have literally pushed Gita Ma into, getting onto the screen is she has a lot of knowledge to share. And Bhagavad Gita, she understands it beautifully well. And what we felt was how you can apply the Gita in your day-to-day lives. Bhagavad Gita is just not about just reading and, understanding the knowledge or the gyan in this and say, wow, Krishna spoke so beautifully. I think how we implement that, how we add value to our life from what Krishna spoke in the Gita is very important. How Gita can change your mindset, your perception of life, how you can face all those adversities, challenges by just holding the Gita also in your hand is so very important. So I think no one else, but then I think Gita Ma can do a great job for this. So Gita Ma, we are all looking forward for your classes. And we would like you to even touch on the important 18 slokas, which are so important. Like we may not have the time to learn the whole Gita by heart, but I think we should all learn at least one sloka from each chapter, which is a very important sloka. And that is the foundation for the next step. So we wish you all the very best, Gita Ma. Namaskarams to you.
शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरोः पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोः कृपः। नमोस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। My humble prostrations to the lotus feet of my Gurudev, Pujya Sadguru Sri 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 Sai Kumar Ji, and my namaskars to Ashram's Uttaradhikari, Sri Kirti Ma Ji. I thank her for giving me this opportunity. Sai Shwa Hari Om. A very warm welcome to all of you to join this Gita session. I hope you enjoy the class. So before we switch on to the main topic, Bhagavad Gita, first, let us know the importance of Gita in our day-to-day life, why we have to read the Gita or follow the Gita. What is life? Life, in our modern terms, we say, it is a jigsaw puzzle with most of the pieces missing. What are the pieces missing in this life? Who am I? What is my duty? Why have I come into this world? What is the power with which I'm able to survive in this world? I'm able to move in this world. What is my relationship with this world? If we are able to understand these questions, our life is made. If we do not understand or even try to find out, then life becomes futile. There is a void in each one of us, an eagerness to achieve something. Every individual has this anxiety. To fill that void, we undertake different kinds of actions in this objective world, and to a certain extent, our anxiety decreases. With this, we are under the misconception that we have gained satisfaction. I have achieved my goal. So I'm happy, I'm satisfied. But till when will this happiness exist? Because again tomorrow, another want crops up in the mind. So one want after another keeps cropping up. So life goes on like this. In trying to achieve our wants, we go to such an extent that we make our own life more miserable. In the Shastras, it is said that this world or life is dukkhalayam. Meaning of dukkhalayam, an abode of suffering. Once we come into this world, we have to suffer and suffer and suffer. So each one of us is entangled in sorrow and fear. Each one of us is trapped in bondages of different kinds. We are bonded with each other. We have the bonds of daughter, father-daughter relationship. Then to one be a daughter, to another daughter-in-law, a mother-in-law, a sister, a friend, a co-sister, an aunt, a niece. So many types of bondages we have. As such, a person's affection and attachment varies from one individual to another. The world is changing. People are changing. The mind is changing. This physical gross body is also changing. The perception of the senses is changing. Thoughts are changing. All these uncertainties in this material world are exposing one subtle truth. One day, this physical body will perish. It will mingle in this earth. This may happen any moment. In the words of Adi Shankaracharya, Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam 𝘚𝑑𝑉𝒕 matishaya chapalam viddhi vyadhyabhimanagrastam lokam shoka hatam cha samastam. Adi Shankaracharya says in the Bhaja-govindam, as water drops on a lotus leaf, you see the water drops on a lotus leaf. How steady they are? They are not at all steady. They are unsteady. They are always shaking, trembling. In the same way, life in this world is exceedingly unsteady and restless. Know that the whole world is full of miseries, afflicted by disease, afflicted by sickness, unhappiness, and grief. Once we understand the subtle truth that life is ephemeral, we can see light in our own lives. Otherwise, we will be groping in darkness. Today, the inventions in science and technology are advancing in jet speed. But can science and technology give us the true peace of mind, true happiness? What is the answer? No. Why? Because the happiness which we are searching for is not in this objective world. From the womb to the tomb, man is a bundle of wants, thoughts, and emotions. We are in the rat race from the cradle to the grave. We want to achieve something and we don't know what we really want to achieve. We want happiness, but we are groping in darkness in the objective world. When there is a problem, the solution lies there itself. For example, supposing a person is sick, who should take the medicine? The one who is sick. If the husband is sick and the wife takes the medicine, will it work? No, it will not work. So a problem is a problem as long as we do not know the solution for it. For example, I have money in my pocket and I go to a city, unknown city. I'm walking on the road. I feel very hungry. There are so many hotels, dabas, food outlets. Then my hunger is not a problem because the solution is there. I have to go to the hotel of my choice, order the food, eat and pay. I have the money in my pocket, so it is not a problem. Supposing I have no money, or if I'm in a place where I have money, but there are no hotels or eateries anywhere, food outlets, I cannot procure the food I want. Then the problem of hunger there becomes really a problem because the solution is not readily available to us. Life is a problem as long as we do not know how to face the challenges arising around us. We should know how to face the challenges. When that knowledge is revealed to us, we know the solution, and then the problem is no more threatening or despairing. In fact, when we know the solution for a problem and we are ready to act accordingly, then such problems come to serve as savories in life. One such solution is the Mahabharata, one of the greatest epics of our great country. In the words of Pujya Sadguruji, it is Yoga Bhumi, Tapo Bhumi, Punya Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, Dharma Bhumi. That is Bharat Desh. Now, in the modern days, we call it as India. Mahabharata is the narration of the great 18-day Kurukshetra war between the 100 Kauravas and the 5 Pandavas, the children of 2 brothers. It was a war between cousins, and the cousins were children of 2 brothers, siblings. The Mahabharata comprises philosophical and devotional material. It also contains the Bhagavad Gita, the most revered religious text. The Bhagavad Gita transpires from the 25th to the 43rd chapter in the Bhishma Parva. 25th to the 43rd chapter. The story begins with Hastinapur's King Shantanu of the Kuru dynasty marrying river goddess Ganga. Bhishma, one of the prominent characters in the Mahabharata, was their son. After giving birth to Devavrata, that was Bhishma, Ganga left King Shantanu to carry out her godly duties. In course of time, King Shantanu fell in love with Satyavati. She was the daughter of a fisherman, as well as he was a ferryman too, who used to ferry people across the river Yamuna. So Satyavati's father placed a condition before the king. If at all you want to marry my daughter, you should make my daughter's son the head of the kingdom. He should sit on the throne, none else. So coming to know about this condition, Devavrata comes to know. So he takes a vow, keeping the Panchabhutas as a witness, all the 5 elemental forces as the witness. He takes a vow that he will be a lifelong pure celibate, a pure brahmachari. He will never get married in his lifetime. When he takes this promise, the devatas from the heavenly abode shower flowers upon him, and there's the reverberating sound of Bhishma, Bhishma, Bhishma. Bhishma means the victorious, the great, the victorious. After this, Shantanu gets married to Satyavati, and in course of time, they beget 2 sons, 𝘉𝑐𝑒𝑚 and Chitrangada. I'm putting it in a very short form so that we can go to the topic fast. After the death of Shantanu, 𝘉𝑐𝑒𝑚 ascended the throne. 𝘉𝑐𝑒𝑚 and Chitrangada married Ambika and Ambalika. 𝘉𝑐𝑒𝑚 died in a war, and Chitrangada was inflicted with a dreadful disease, what we now call as AIDS. When both 𝘉𝑐𝑒𝑚 and Chitrangada died, Ambika and Ambalika were left as widows with no children. They were barren women. They didn't have any children. Once again, the throne of Hastinapura was empty. The caretaker was Bhishma. The throne was empty, without a king. It was then Satyavati decided to call Vyasa. Vyasa was her son, whom she begot before she could get married to King Shantanu. She met sage Parashara on the banks of the river, and she was blessed with a son, Krishnadvaipayana. Later he was known as Vyasa. Yesterday was Guru Purnima, and we celebrated Vyasa Purnima in a grand scale because Guru Purnima is dedicated to sage Vyasa in his memory. It was on this day that he composed the Brahma Sutras, the Ashtadasha Puranas. He has given us the Mahabharata, Bhagavatam. It is through sage Vyasa we have come to know all the scriptures. So as a homage to Lord Vyasa, on every Ashada Purnima, on the full moon day in the month of Ashada, we worship Vyasa, as well as all devotees and disciples worship their respective gurus. So she calls Vyasa. She sends her telepathy waves to Vyasa. Immediately, Vyasa manifests before her. He asks, "Mother, what can I do for you?" She tells, "Son, both my daughters-in-law, Ambika and Ambalika, have no children. The throne is empty. Somebody has to rule the kingdom. Bhishma is only a caretaker. Please bless my daughters-in-law with sons." use your yogic powers. You have so many yogic powers. So use them and bless my daughters-in-law. He says, okay, as you say, mother. He goes into Ambika's chamber. The moment Ambika sees Vyasa, she gets frightened. Why? Because Vyasa was short, stout, very dark complexioned, hairy body. His body was full hairy, very long beard, bulging eyes. So seeing that structure, she gets scared and she closes her eyes. And when she is standing with her eyes closed, Vyasa sends his yogic powers into her womb. Next, he goes into Ambalika's chamber. Ambalika is also scared to see Vyasa. She turns pale seeing Vyasa's that hairy body and long beard, bulging eyes. She's so scared that she turns pale. And Vyasa uses his yogic powers to transmit it into a womb. He comes out, he goes to his mother and tells, Mother, I have obeyed your command. I have done what I had to do. I have transferred my yogic powers to them, but I'm sorry to say that the son born to Ambika will be blind because she closed her eyes when I was transmitting the yogic powers. So he will be born blind. And the son born to Ambalika will be pale, suffering with anemia, because she turned pale the moment she saw me. So Satyavati gets very disappointed. She thinks, now what should I do? Who will sit on the throne if both these grandchildren will be weak? One will be born blind, the other anemic. What should I do? She gives a long thought and tells, she calls Ambalika and tells, go to Vyasa and take his blessings again for the second time. I want a bonny baby this time. Vyasa goes into Ambalika's chamber once again. Ambalika is so scared, she doesn't open her mouth in front of her mother-in-law. But she's so smart, she makes up her mind. She calls her servant maid and makes her stand before Vyasa. That servant maid is so smart and clever. The moment she sees Vyasa, she falls at his feet, bows down to him, and very fearlessly, she stands in front of Vyasa with folded hands and just gazes into his eyes. Vyasa transfers all his yogic powers to the servant maid. He comes out and tells Satyavati that it was not Ambalika, but her servant maid who had come into the room. But the child born to her will be very intelligent and wise. And this was how Dhritarashtra, the blind king, Pandu, who was suffering with anemia, Panduroga, he was born, and Vidura, all three, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura were born. So, after they were born, in course of time, they grow big. Dhritarashtra was married to Gandhari, and Pandu was married to Kunti and Madri. As Dhritarashtra was born blind, he was not fit to become the king. So Bhishma makes Pandu the king. He makes him sit on the throne. And the kingdom was flourishing well under the rule of King Pandu. King Pandu was very fond of hunting. Before that, one day, Vyasa happens to come to Hastinapur on his Padayatra. As he was traveling, he happens to visit Hastinapur. So he goes into the kingdom, he goes to the palace, and there he stays for a few days, and Gandhari takes care of him. Gandhari played the role of a perfect host. She looked after his comforts and requirements so well that the sage was immensely pleased and offered her a boon. He said, I am so pleased with your services, Gandhari. Ask what you desire. I will fulfill your wish. From long time, she had a strong, intense desire in her mind that I should have 100 sons and 1 daughter. So she says, Maharshi, I want to beget 100 sons and 1 daughter. Please fulfill my wish. He says, okay, be it. He blesses her. In course of time, she becomes pregnant. Meanwhile, as the kingdom was flourishing well, Pandu was very fond of hunting. So he goes out and hunting with his 2 wives, Kunti and Madri. He goes into the forest, deep into the forest, and there in the jungles, he sees a deer couple in copulation. Actually, they were not deers. They were 𝘠𝘩𝘪𝘵 and his wife. They took the form of deers. They were in the guise of deers and enjoying the beauty of nature, the splendor of nature. Without giving any thought, King Pandu shoots an arrow. And that arrow pierces 𝘠𝘩𝘪𝘵, who was in the form of the deer. The moment the arrow pierced 𝘠𝘩𝘪𝘵 in the form of a deer, he took his real form, that is, he transforms himself into 𝘠𝘩𝘪𝘵 and spells a curse on the king. He says, hey king, the moment you approach a woman, you will meet your end. You can never touch a woman. You can never go near a woman. So he could never approach his wife also. That was the curse. Pandu goes back to the kingdom, disheartened, disappointed, very sad. After some days, he decides to go off into the jungles, taking the Vanaprastha ashrama. He says, he tells Bhishma, the kingdom is flourishing well. Let my brother sit on the throne. Who? Dhritarashtra. Let him sit on the throne. You are the caretaker. You can help him. I'm going to the jungles with my 2 wives. And so he retires to the forest with both his wives. So life goes on like that. Days keep on passing by. One day, Kunti and Madri, they couldn't get biological sons because of the sage's curse. Because of the sage's curse, they couldn't go near their husband. So they were without children. But Kunti Devi very badly wanted to become a mother. She wanted sons. So she remembers the mantra she received from sage Durvasa when she was a young girl in her teens before her marriage. She remembered that mantra. The power of the mantra was such that you can invoke any deity according to your choice and chant the mantra, you can beget a son. You will be blessed with a son. So she remembers that. Immediately, she invokes Lord 𝘰𝑒𝑚𝑎𝑑harmaraja. She invokes Lord 𝘰𝑒𝑚𝑎𝑑harmaraja and chants that mantra, and she begets a son. The baby appears in both her hands, and that was Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja Yudhishthira. The news spreads far and wide that Kunti is blessed with a son, and this reaches the ears of Gandhari. The moment Gandhari hears this news that Kunti Devi is blessed with a son, the seed of jealousy is sown in her. See, jealousy started right in Gandhari's womb. Gandhari was pregnant. She's so irritated, angered. There's so much jealousy in her that she closes both her fists tight. She closes her fist, and with both her fists, she hits her abdomen very badly. And she says, I should have given birth to myself. It is nearing 1 year. I'm carrying this child in my womb. He is not coming out. I should have delivered my baby before her. Why before her? Because she wanted her son to sit on the throne. It was the rule of the kingdom that whoever, the first prince born in the royal family, will become the heir of the throne. So she wanted her own son to sit on the throne. She was so jealous, she hit very badly into her abdomen. As a consequence, she delivered a lump of mass, not a baby, a lump of mass. See what anger does. She couldn't control her anger. Instead of a baby, she delivered a lump of mass. She's so angered and disappointed. She goes to Vyasa. She calls Vyasa. She says, hey Maharshi, what is this? You blessed me that I will beget 100 sons and 1 daughter, and see the result. What is this? What happened to your boon? So Vyasa says, Gandhari, my boon cannot go in vain. Even in jest, I never speak a lie. Even in jest, I never speak a lie. So how can that be possible? One thing. Now, this lump of mass, cut it into 101 pieces. Divide it into 101 pieces. Put them in, what you say, earthen pots. 101 earthen pots, which is filled with clarified butter, with ghee. Seal them tightly and put it in a dark cave for 1 whole year for fertilization. So Gandhari was made to do that. Today we believe in test tube babies and stem cell therapy. But in Dwapara Yuga, 101 eggs were fertilized and put in 101 earthen pots. Today we speak about it as a great research done by a modern scientist, stem cell therapy, test tube baby. What is that? Our rishis have already done in Dwapara Yuga. They have done it. And what our modern scientists are doing is nothing but what they have done. They are doing it in a modern way. That's all. It is not something, it is not a new invention what our scientists are doing. It is carried down by ages. It's coming from ages. But one ancient rishi had already done it. We had 100 Kauravas from one mother because of stem cell research and test tube baby technology. This is the science in our country, the great Bharat Desh. When after 1 year, the pots were opened and the infants emerged out. When Duryodhana was born, several animals howled, which was seen as a bad omen by Vidura. Vidura says, it is a bad omen. 100 Kauravas were brought up with overflowing love and care, especially from their father, Dhritarashtra. From their childhood, meanwhile, as they were growing up, Kunti Devi wanted more sons. So she invokes Lord Vayudeva. This time, first she invoked Lord Yamadharmaraj. She was blessed with Yudhishthira. Now she invokes Lord Vayudeva and she was blessed with Bhima. Again, she invokes Lord Indra. She is blessed with Arjuna. Then now she gives a second thought. I have 3 sons. What about my sister Madri? She is also a barren woman. She should also get an opportunity to have children. So she gives a second thought and she gives that mantra, the mantra which she received from sage Durvasa, to Madri. So Madri invokes the twin Ashwin Kumars with the mantra and begets Nakul and Sahadev. So this is how the 5 Pandavas were born, and this is how the 100 Kauravas were born. The Pandavas were born with the blessings of the deities, and so they had all the virtues in them. All the virtues. They were humble, polite, humility and reverence. They were epitome of humility, reverence and love. From their childhood, the Kauravas, they developed a dislike for the Pandavas. Why? The seed of jealousy, hatred was sown in the womb of Gandhari. Remember from where Duryodhana got that jealousy? It was from the womb. That is why they say when women are pregnant, they should think all good. They should see all good. They should talk all good. Why? Because that will be sowed in the womb. The child will imbibe all those characters. That is why they say, read spiritual books, do lots of japa, do lots of meditation, listen to Mahatma's pravachan. Why? Because of this. The seed of jealousy was sown in Gandhari's womb. And that is how it grew up into a sapling. Now it was growing into a sapling in Duryodhana and his brothers. They were notorious for nurturing a desire to kill the Pandavas, even in childhood itself. They tried many ways to kill the Pandavas, but in every attempt they did, they failed. In every attempt, there was nothing. They failed. Through the unrighteous and cunning conduct, they tricked the Pandavas into a game of dice with the help of their maternal uncle, Shakuni. Shakuni helps the Kauravas to trick the Pandavas, and that is how they tricked the Pandavas and they defeated them in a game of dice, and Yudhishthira lost everything. In this way, they were sent to exile for 13 long years. The Pandavas were in exile for 13 long years. When the period of exile ended, Duryodhana did not agree to give the Pandavas even a pinpoint of space. Sudimo pinanta sthanam kuda ivvanu, he says, no? Even a pinpoint of space he was not ready to give. So what was the result? War was inevitable. That was the great Kurukshetra war which shaped history. Duryodhana had unwavering confidence to fight the war because he had with him the great Bhishma, the great Karna, and his Guru Dronacharya. They were on his side. As was the kingdom's rule, they were compelled to be on Duryodhana's side, for they were righteous and followers of Dharma. So, the preparations for the war were being made. Both the Kauravas and the Pandavas were trying to get the support of more and more kings from far and wide, from the neighboring kingdoms and all. They were trying to take the support of all the kings. So one day, Duryodhana planned to get the support of Sri Krishna also. He goes to Dwaraka to meet Krishna and ask for his help. When the time Duryodhana went, Krishna was taking a nap. He was lying down on his couch, and Duryodhana sees, oh, Krishna is sleeping, so I have to wait. Okay, let me wait for some time. He waits. How does he wait? There was a chair near the head of Krishna. Krishna was lying on a couch, and beside the couch, there was a chair, near the head. He sits on the chair. First he goes. There was another chair, 2 chairs near the feet also. He thinks, why should I sit near his feet? I should not sit near his feet. Now, I'll sit near the head. He was egoistic, egocentric, self-conceited. So he goes and sits near the head. He waits and waits. Meanwhile, Arjuna also comes to ask for help. What Arjuna does, he was born with the blessings of Lord Indra. So he has all the characters, all the virtues a wise man should have. The first thing he does was, he bows down to Krishna's feet and just stands with folded hands before Krishna. After some time, Krishna gets up. And the moment you get up from bed also, what you see first, the moment as you get up from bed, you see what is in front of you. And who was in front of Krishna? Arjuna. So he says, Arjuna, Arjuna, how is that you have come so far? What can I do for you? So immediately Duryodhana gets angry. What is this? Krishna, I came first. You should ask me. He turns his head. Krishna turns his head. Oh, Duryodhana, you're here. I didn't see you. Oh, how is it both of you have come? Krishna knows everything. Natana Sutradhari. So then Krishna says, okay, I know both of you have come to ask for help. One condition. On one side, my army, my Narayani Seva will be there, and on the other, I alone will be there. I will give you moral support. I will not touch any weapon. Only moral support I will give you. Choose what you want. My Narayani Seva or me? And he turns to Duryodhana and says, Arjuna is younger than you. So first he gets the preference. Arjuna, you choose what you want. You want me or my Narayani Seva? Arjuna doesn't say a word. He just folds his hands. He says, Keshav, without giving a second thought. Keshav, I want you alone. I want you. Because he knew that with his support and guidance, the Pandavas would certainly win the war. He had absolute faith in Sri Krishna. The moment he says, I want you alone, Duryodhana thinks, oh, what a stupid fool. So stupid of him, Arjuna. What a stupid fool you are to ask for Krishna. I'm so lucky. Thank God he didn't ask for that Narayani Seva. I'm so lucky to get his Narayani Seva. Okay. And my army, the number of my army will increase. That is how Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas and he became the charioteer of Arjuna. And Kauravas were blessed with his Narayani Sena. So during the war, in the Kurukshetra war, the Pandava army consisted of 7 Akshauhinis. Akshauhini means an Akshauhini consists of 20 chariots, elephants, horses, and infantry. All these put together is called an Akshauhini. So the Pandava Akshauhini was 7 and Kauravas was 11. So just imagine, they had 21,870 chariots. In one Akshauhini consists of 21,870 chariots and the same number of elephants, 21,870 elephants. And horses were 65,610 horses in one Akshauhini. And infantry means the soldiers with spears, daggers running about. Infantry, 1,09,350 infantry. So one Akshauhini consists of so many things. So that into 7, just imagine, They had 1,53,090 chariots and the same number of elephants, 1,53,090 elephants. And they had 4,59,270 horses and 7,65,450 infantry. Whereas the Kauravas had 11 Akshauhinis. They had 2,40,570 chariots as well as elephants, 7,21,710 horses, and 12,02,850 infantry. The army of the Kauravas was much larger than that of the Pandavas. Now, before we switch on to the main Bhagavad Gita, how did we get this Bhagavad Gita? When the Supreme Lord incarnates, when he comes down to the earth taking the human form, even a Devata, to assist the Supreme Lord, comes down to the earth as a sage, as a rishi. When the Supreme Lord incarnated as Lord Rama in the Treta Yuga, it was Valmiki who made a record of all the happenings in Treta Yuga. Because of sage Valmiki, we know the Ramayana today. We are able to know the happenings in Treta Yuga. Likewise, in Dwapara Yuga, along with Sri Krishna, there was sage Vyasa. Sage Vyasa came down to the earth to make a sincere recording of all his childhood leelas, of all the happenings in Dwapara Yuga. And this is how today we are able to read the Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita. So we should owe our gratitude to sage Vyasa. But sage Vyasa wanted somebody as a scribe. He thinks, now what should I do? Shall I stop? 2 more minutes to continue, okay? So he prays to the creator Brahma. Brahmadev, help me. What should I do? Brahma tells him, you take the help of Vigneshwara, Ganapati Deva, Jai Sri Ganesha. So he prays to Sri Ganesha. Sri Ganesha comes to help him. Sri Ganesha says, I will be your scribe on one condition. You should not stop while narrating the story. You should, and Vyasa places a condition, you should not stop while writing. You should continuously write and I will continuously tell. And this was how we got the Mahabharata. So 5 people were very fortunate to have a direct vision of Sri Krishna and to directly listen to the Bhagavad Gita. Only 5 people had. Who were those 5 people? First is Arjuna, who directly listened from Sri Krishna as Sri Krishna was narrating, the Avatara Murti was narrating, and the receiver was Arjuna Adhikara Murti. So first was Arjuna, who listened to the Bhagavad Gita. Next was Jai Sri Hanuman, Kapidwaja. He was on the flag, on the chariot, and it was Hanuman who could directly listen to what Sri Krishna was saying and directly see what was happening in the war. And third was Vyasa, who had the divine intuition. He had the divine intuition. No matter where he was, he could see the happenings, he could read the minds of all the people, and he could listen to what Sri Krishna was saying. Vyasa, third is Vyasa. Fourth was Sanjaya, who was temporarily bestowed with divine intuition to witness the war and record the happenings. So first Arjuna, second Hanuman, third Vyasa, fourth Sanjaya, and fifth there was one more person, 𝘠𝘓𝑒𝑒𝑘, the son of 𝘠𝘠𝑗. 𝘠𝘓𝑒𝑒𝑘 also heard the story. But who is 𝘠𝘓𝑒𝑒𝑘? Most of us don't know who is 𝘠𝘓𝑒𝑒𝑘. So tomorrow we will know, I mean the next session, that is on Saturday, we will know the story of 𝘠𝘓𝑒𝑒𝑘 and proceed to the first chapter, the importance of the Bhagavad Gita. So today I end the session here with a closing prayer. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadvitamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you.